and welcome. Welcome to A Resonant Life, produced by The Time Is Now Productions. I am Mike Thompson, your host and Reflector-in-Chief. Over the next 20 to 30 minutes, we will discuss experiences and insights about living a life devoted to uncovering our authentic selves and finding fulfilling purpose from the past, the present, and the future. To kick off our discussion, I'll share my opinions gathered from my life and experiences. Opinions between people are various, and we don't all need to hold the same ones. But it is fun to hear the opinions of others as it gives us an opportunity to freshen up our own. If you enjoy and gain insight, please subscribe and share. If you have questions, please email them. And as always, nothing we cover here is a proscription or a prescription. It is a discussion of life and life's internal and external experiences. So let's get to it. Hello, hi, welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. It really is wonderful, and I'm so encouraged to know that we can all work together to make life better for ourselves, our families, friends, communities, and even this troubled world we all share. Even on our worst days, we can still bring happiness to others. We can still reach out a helping hand. We have the excess of blessings to share because we are creating them infinitely as we work together. Does that sound a little too optimistic, over the top? Maybe. But making change, creating change, being change, this requires us to step way outside of our comfort zones, to think much bigger than we usually do, and to create a positive vision for our world. If you add water to water, what do you have? More water. But if you add something else, some other ingredients, say tea leaves, what do you have then? You have tea. This is thinking bigger, stretching, manually exercising and injecting positivity into our thoughts, into our hearts, into our environments and our circumstances. We're making tea instead of just carrying water, so to speak. But this is the first step to any positive change. Smile, then smile bigger, then smile even bigger than that. And no, it isn't easy. It is not easy to do. It isn't easy to start doing, and it certainly isn't easy to sustain. Especially when it seems that everything is lined up against us to prevent us from giving birth to that smile, to keeping a positive outlook and disposition. I've shared some of my own recent struggles with this. Illness, accidents, emergencies, disruption, needs, depression, loneliness, the list of confounding events, the list of things in our lives that can keep us from being positive. This list is endless. It is so easy to stay in a mind of negativity, that negative feedback loop. Nonetheless, we can still choose to smile. We can choose to help, to be optimistic, to reach out and help others. we can choose this path. That is the way out and up. All of the difficulties we experience in our lives are usually also they're unpredictable and outside of our control. Just like standing in a rushing river, the water comes and there's nothing we can do to stop it. Basically, we're just often focused on not being swept away, just kind of holding the position, not getting swept away in the current. And often we get swept away anyhow. But smiling, helping, positivity, altruism. These are the things we can control. Our attitude, our posture, our mindset. Smiling. Just smiling. This is the one thing we can actually control, isn't it? We can smile anywhere, anytime, in any circumstance. And this is in our power. This is the thing that is in our control. Do you remember last episode? We talked about the 4 immeasurable states of mind, or the 4 immeasurables. Those were compassion, loving kindness, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. Looking back at that discussion and kind of putting it into this discussion, I think we can say that the first 3 of the 4 immeasurables, compassion, loving kindness, and sympathetic joy, while these are certainly states of mind to cultivate and sustain, really they're also tactics, or they can be tactics, even mind hacks in a way. We can pretty much activate them, engage them when we want, if they aren't arising of their own accord. And if we use them this way, consciously expressing each of them in any and all situations, then what happens is we are then allowing equanimity to arise in our hearts and minds. Equanimity becomes, even if just for a moment here and there, it becomes the basis, the foundation, the ground from which we can act. And equanimity is what? Equanimity is accepting everything as it is, everyone as they are, here, now. Just as we accept the air we breathe in, we accept the circumstances, situations, and people in our lives as they are. Not as we want it all to be, not as we wish it all was, but just as it is, here and now, just as we breathe. And doing this is a struggle because it is contrary to our instinctual impulses and contrary to a lot of the cultural messages that we're bombarded with by entertainment, our workplaces, and sometimes even our communities and families. Equanimity goes against the instinctual grain. Remember, evolutionary biology, evolutionary psychology, they tell us how, as organisms, our DNA's main purpose, as it exists in us, is to plant itself more DNA in future generations, to survive, multiply, and thrive at all costs. Often at the expense of, or without regard for, the happiness, lives, and well-being of others. That is the biological imperative. And it is that which we are using our intelligence and intelligent minds to overcome, to restrain, to tame. Our mind hacks are our tools. More importantly, we are using something that evolutionary biology and science cannot explain. Our hearts. We are using our hearts to turn our lives from self-centered to other-centered, to be altruistically motivated. Before we explore our hearts more, let's quickly lay down another Buddhist principle that I think will help. Buddha nature. Buddha nature is the potential in all sentient beings to awaken, to become enlightened. Basically, to achieve the same state of mind as the historical Buddha, Shakyamuni. And if that is too kind of crystal gazy to grab onto and hold, then work with me and just try to accept Buddha nature as a mystery in life, which, when tapped, is the spark which gives us the ability, the capacity to begin a dance with wisdom and compassion, leading to a state of mind free from attachment and aversion, leading to equanimity. And Buddhism teaches that all sentient beings, all living beings, share this one thing. They're all striving to survive, to multiply, and to thrive. This includes the one-celled to the infinitely complex. All have Buddha nature as well. But maybe that's a little overwhelming. When considered that way, I think it's too much, right? So let's just zoom into us, to our lives and situations. How can we, in our daily lives, do this dance of wisdom and compassion? Okay, before we answer that question, let's quickly discuss another Buddhist concept to help orient and root us. Bodhicitta, but let's call it loving kindness. As we discussed a little earlier, this is our heart. Let's think of it as heart with a capital H, okay? What separates us, humans, from all these other sentient beings with Buddha nature is our intellect and our intelligence. We as humans are able to choose to override our biological imperative. We can choose to be compassionate in the face of hardship. We can choose to be generous in the middle of want and pain. We can choose to share joy while suffering sadness. We can choose to smile anytime, anywhere, no matter what. One of the main aspects of loving kindness is to cultivate this heart of altruism, a heart of helping others to find happiness. Okay, maybe we've covered a lot, so let's do a quick recap. 1, we have a superpower. We can smile at any time and in any situation, no matter what. And this is a positive and creative action. 2, equanimity. Naturally arising equanimity comes from our efforts of compassion, loving kindness, and sympathetic joy. 3, equanimity is accepting everything as it is, where it is, how it is, the way it is. Like breathing. Just we accept the breath. We breathe in, we breathe out. And Buddha nature. All beings have the innate potential to awaken. And we, with our own efforts, actually help them to start on this path. 5. Are we at 5 now? 5. Loving kindness. This is our hearts with a capital H. Our good hearts that wish for, hope for, dream of, and try to create more happiness and peace in this world. It is the dance of wisdom and compassion. And all this begs the question, is there a practice or a thing we can do that is effective, that uses all of these tools and bits of information and insight? Remember, we are all about action, taking action. A resonant life isn't about sitting on a cushion and thinking about or meditating on things passively. Our meditation is our action. Our meditation is the real concrete actions we take in the world to create happiness, peace, and relief. And I think there is a practice, and it is a hard one. Of course it's hard. Doing anything that is against the grain of our biological, psychological imperative is hard. And that hardness, that difficulty, is why the outcomes can be so impactful, powerful, and effective, and so hard to sustain. Okay, what is the practice besides smiling? Because that's a practice too, right? Let's just start all practices with a smile. But here's the practice that I'm talking about. The practice is listening. Really listening. Listening not with the ears, not the mind, not the problem-solving, band-aid applying there, poor thing mind, but with the heart. Generally speaking, people don't listen to each other. Maybe a better way to say it is people don't hear each other because they're not really listening. The list of things we're doing when someone is talking to us and wanting to be heard, the list of other things we're actually doing is long. We're trying to problem solve and fix. We're looking for weaknesses. We're gathering intel and information. We're not listening because we're distracted. We're comparing them to us, their situation to our situation. We're judging. We're feeling irritated or jealous or bored or used or, yeah, the list just goes on and on and on, right? And sure, maybe we provide some good advice or insight, but in a sense, that is a transaction. And listening with the heart is not transactional. Listening with the heart is using all four of the four immeasurable states of mind. Listening with the heart is breathing deeply, slowly, and letting the words from the other person sink into us in a place where we can feel the feelings, empathetically feel what the other person is feeling. Listening with the heart does not need words or answers or solutions or comebacks. Really, the only sounds we should make when we're listening with the heart is the sound of our breathing. And maybe or 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 some other, any audible cue that you are indeed hearing and feeling. This is listening with the intent to help and spark happiness, or at least the potential for happiness, where maybe there is none. It is listening with our own hearts wide open, boundless, without investment in a particular outcome other than one, the happiness of the person to whom we're listening. And it can be so frustrating. So often it seems obvious, right? When we're listening to somebody, it seems obvious what they should do. It's just so clear. But truly, we need to keep those kinds of thoughts, our thoughts and opinions and solutions and ideas, our generations of our mind. We need to keep those to ourselves. And this is so difficult to do. And if you fall out of that sense of breathing into being present openly without judgment or expectation, out of that feeling of or that space of equanimity, that's when you'll start to feel frustrated and impatient and restless. And you'll see what they should do. Right? No problem. You're human. I'm human. We're doing something really hard. So let those feelings of frustration, impatience, and restlessness, let them be a spiritual cue to go, I'm not listening now. So that spiritual cue, then I can refocus again on breathing in air, breathing in the meaning and feeling the other person is sharing, and listening without judgment or expectation. To take this up another level, you can even imagine you're breathing in the other person's sorrow or pain or difficulty. Whatever it is they're sharing, breathe it in. And then believe that you're purifying it, transmuting it to happiness. And as you breathe it out, you're sending them that essence of happiness. And there's magic in this. There is magic in listening with the heart, with loving kindness. And it is this. As you listen, intellect and problem solving suspended, as you listen to the other with your heart, you'll feel something in your chest. You'll feel the simultaneous arising of joy and gratitude. The joy comes from the reality, the understanding that you can help someone unconditionally, that you can rise above and beyond your own problems and challenges to simply be wholly present for another. And gratitude to the other person, the one who is troubled, gratitude for the opportunity they have given you to use this superpower and to feel joy arise. And then your joy will extend to them, and they will feel it too. Your listening with the heart in equanimity is a virtuous circle. Magic. Okay, right, none of this is intuitive. None of it. None of it on the surface makes any sense at all. But the example that comes to mind is this. Usually, we all spend our lives trying to put the universe in a jar, trying to put the cosmos, the infinite, into a jar and then screw the lid tight. It is a genetic drive to control and make predictable our lives, our environments, our worlds. We want project plans. And when others have problems, we want to show them how to put the cosmos in a jar to fix their problem. We want to get them onto the project plan. But of course, the cosmos doesn't fit in a jar, does it? And what we should be doing instead is dissolving ourselves into the infinite, allowing the cosmos to carry us away. The exact opposite of trying to stuff this infinite into the jar. We should dissolve into the infinite, expanding. I hesitate to say it's a bit like, do you know the trust fall? Where you fall into the arms of others with your eyes closed and your arms across your chest. But you know what? It's kind of like a trust fall. Our conscious, literal minds, we shrink in terror at the idea of dissolving into the infinite. All will be lost. Our identities, ourselves destroyed. But actually, the opposite happens. our true selves are allowed to emerge. What is your true self? What is my true self? What is our true selves? The true self is the you that has infinite capacity to help others without condition or distinction. The you that accepts everything as a blessing without labeling things as good, bad, sweet, sour, healthy, unhealthy. And the you that shares those blessings freely and even eagerly. This is what we begin to experience when we listen with our hearts. On one level, Buddhism can appear to be overwhelmingly complicated and dense and hard to approach. There's a lot of Sanskrit words, right? But the power and wisdom of Buddhism is unlocked when we engage with the intent to be of benefit and help. No complication there, right? When we engage with the intent to be of benefit and help, the power and wisdom of Buddhism is unlocked. To be an engine of happiness for others and take concrete actions in our lives that are altruistic. Intent and action from that intent is the secret sauce that the Buddha taught. That simple. In this modern world we live in, Shinnyo Buddhism, founded by Kyoshu Shinjo and his wife Shoju Shinen in 1936, and presently led by Keishu Shinso, teaches a wonderful path of practice for using our daily lives and relationships to bring about a peaceful world, while at the same time elevating our own spiritual capacities, taking the mundane and unwrapping it to find the power of Buddhism, the power of wisdom, the steps of the dance of wisdom and compassion. I hope our discussions here at A Resonant Life are helping you to clearly set your intent on altruism and finding ways to act in your daily lives and with those around you to act as an agent of happiness, a person others rely upon. We can. We will. We are creating a better world. How do I know? Why do I have such confidence? Because I can smile. Thank you for today, and see you next time. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to hear more, please subscribe and share. If you'd like to share your own experience, thoughts, or ask a question, please send an email to mike@resonant.social. With gratitude, theme music is courtesy of Stock Audios, distributed by Pixabay. A Resonant Life is a podcast from the Time Is Now Productions.